Hello and welcome back to Mental Health Stream on Top Health with Karin. How are you?
I'm great. I just recovered from a nasty kind of like 5 days being in bed with fever. And it's so good to be back to life, to be honest.
Hey, you are looking great right now, and I know we had this hassle. We just couldn't get this recording in sooner,
Oh,
but uh, but here we are. Back, better, stronger, fitter,
yeah,
ready to take on 2025. Uh,
absolutely.
all right. So today, topic is all about mental health. Was a perk, now it's imperative. And before we go into more discussion on the topic, I noticed in last week that Earkick is ranking in top spots for AI mental health assistant apps. Phenomenal. Could you talk about Earkick's traction in the last 12 months before we jump into our discussion today?
Well, absolutely. It's always great to talk about that because it's wonderful to experience growth and to be on that ride. So yeah, as you say, over the past year, our user base has grown significantly, 40% month over month since December and also before. And we're proud to have over 35,000 monthly active users. That's what matters, having life on the platform. And they rely on Earkick for daily mental health check-ins, all kinds of things. And therefore also our retention is strong and we're consistently maintaining a high ranking on the app store. So hovering over 4.8, 4.9 stars, which is always good. We have fantastic reviews. And I think, like this is exciting growth, exciting organic growth also, word of mouth, particularly in the US. And to back this whole thing up, technically, we rolled out updates that make our AI even more intuitive. Because those little enhancements here and there, they help us climb the app rankings. And just in the last quarter, we've been seeing a surge of new downloads and largely from users who are seeking on-demand support, on-demand personal growth, mental health support. And because there are no sign-ups, there are no waiting times, just immediate help whenever you need it. It's kind of like hitting the zeitgeist as well. And so right now, back to the growth, we're aiming to really hit the 1 million mark of monthly active users, let's say by September. It feels ambitious, but it's actually what the world needs. What we need, and each individual that decides to take ownership of their mental health needs. And so, it's within reach if the numbers continue like that.
Fabulous. And I saw the post on LinkedIn that we are getting a free lifetime plan. So I took opportunity of that, downloaded the app, and it is. I have to say, uh, I've seen Calm app, I've seen other apps. This is by far the best experience. Again, not being biased here, being just honest review. You have to try it, go download it. It's really phenomenal. Like it's incredible. Of course, everything is a work in progress. Everything gets perfected, but it is. I haven't seen an app for a long, long time like this. Let's say
Yeah,
that.
thank you.
On this point of, obviously many mental health apps require paid subscriptions. And why does Earkick now provide its service entirely free? And how does that align with your broader mission of making mental health universally accessible?
Yeah, so let's tackle it from the broader side, from the mission side, from why did we start this anyhow? So from the start, my co-founder and I, we believe that mental health isn't a luxury. It's not some sort of nice perk, but it is the core foundation for living a fulfilling life. And too many people, I mean, really too many people especially those juggling multiple jobs or, lacking proper insurance, whatnot, they are basically priced out of quality care, priced out of, a lot of little supportive portions in life that we need, because life throws lemons all day long. And many of them is really difficult to deal with them when you have to constantly do the math in your head. Can I afford this? Oh, do I go out, or do I get access to some resource or not? So if we offer Earkick for free, we do remove one of the biggest barriers there are, which is simply cost, pricing people out, right? People should not have to choose between a session with their therapist or paying their rent, or let's say covering basic necessities like groceries or childcare, or, having a day of vacation. So anyone and anywhere should get instant support. And with AI-driven support that we all, you, me, everyone deserves, that's a step towards that big mission. And that approach is also about leveling the playing field, because mental health support becomes, let's say, should be as accessible as any basic internet service, like Google. And when people have, immediate cost-free tools to manage small things, but also anxiety or, burnout that's creeping up, or self-doubt, or anger, they're more likely to thrive. And that is important to just live a life, both personally and professionally. So we're not just talking about, let's say, mental health. We're talking about unlocking human potential, in essence. And we should move away from categorizing ourselves or other people into the healthy bucket or the ill bucket, or the this label or that label. Or we should also go away from treating symptoms and look at it more holistically. And that's why from the very beginning, that was our mission. And now it's how it's playing out. And we can talk about more specifics, later.
You mentioned something like mental health should be accessible like Google search to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a massive shift happening in how people engage with mental health support right now. So are there any patterns that you're seeing right now that's like the bigger shifts happening? Could you talk about those?
Yes. Yes. There is a fundamental shift in, as you say, behavior, in human behavior. And that it's been happening since the rise of LLMs, just as we have been seeing with every major technological breakthrough. Let's stay with Google. Google, for example, before search engines, accessing knowledge meant you go to the library or you have some tedious trips somewhere where you could get your hands on books. You'd have to buy them too. And now it's available instantly, at the tap of a button. Now, mental health support is experiencing a very similar transformation, because previously getting help meant searching for a therapist or a life coach, finding the right match, booking an appointment, waiting 3 months or more, commuting to the session, paying hundreds of dollars per visit, etc., even if it's, less. But worse, it meant that you have to schedule your emotions sort of around a 15-minute slot. You hope that you'd feel ready to open up, to do that, to make that, leap, just at the right time, when you have your session, when you have your slot, when you have the attention of that other person, right? And now the entire process is being replaced by instant, real-time AI-driven support. Or I should maybe not say replace, but there's this option. And with Earkick, users have their therapy or counseling or coaching, whatever you want to call it, in their pocket. And it's ready to provide guidance. It's ready to provide encouragement, anytime you need it in the form and the portion you need it. And this shift is reshaping our behavior, human behavior, because people now turn, and we're witnessing this, they turn to Earkick like they use Google. They check in multiple times per day. On average, by the way, users engage with Earkick for a 10-minute session, whether it's on the web or on the app. And this means it's become a reliable and also irreplaceable part of their daily lives. And so this whole thing is that, you see this behavior shift. And this shift is also making mental health support more of a proactive habit rather than sort of the last resort where you go when you have problems, right? Instead of waiting until you hit a breaking point or, people now seek in real time, in between tasks or wherever they are, whether it's for a quick confidence boost or before a big meeting or to process a stressful situation or just checking in with themselves in the middle of other activities. Yeah. They turn to Earkick. And that's for me, at least, the real revolution, because we're moving away from this sort of reactive crisis management to, let's call it, everyday AI wellness.
Yeah. And I'll say this thing, right? So I am using the application more of like a check-in mechanism of how I'm feeling it. Um, by no means, I'm going to claim that I'm at same regulated level at same times, and that's the whole thing, which is the reality for every one of us. And but also, I'm not obviously, diagnosed with any anxiety or anything. Yes, as a human, I do feel anxious at times, but uh, but uh, but what I'm finding a true value in this is like it's just making me check in every single day. It's almost becoming I know that, oh, this is just like recording my mood or my, not to say just mood, but also like how I'm feeling it. And that is really helping me kind of like document, but also understand patterns, because I'm realizing it after a certain or duration of the day, I'm always like not in good mood, kind of, that I picked up. So, and I realized like, why is that the case? And I figured it out, like it generally happens because I'm actually eating late. I need to move my meal up, which I did not notice in last days. I noticed this, and that made me like, oh, I just need to make sure I fix my schedule, move my calendar up. And that actually only happened because I started documenting it through this. And now, no, oh, shit, if I move this thing up, it helps me. So, very small thing. Not necessarily people will think this is like a mental health thing, but I actually think this is more like a personal wellness thing. But it helped me keep my mood much better for next few hours. It changed me for this. So I think it's just, I feel like we're at the right moment where we do want to utilize tools like this just for personal care. And I don't see a better answer than something which is using AI at this moment or tech-wise that can be used, which is why we are probably seeing, in your numbers too, why people are using it for and they're using it. But the interesting thing that came up this week for me was still AI in the workspace is usually talked about in terms of productivity, automation, and that's the most common themes you hear. But how does AI wellness actually help people thrive in their careers? I want to put this question to you. I actually think my example was really related to productivity because I moved this and that helped me so much with this, which kind of answers an example to this. But I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. With your example, because mental health, well-being, and also productivity, by the way, has many layers and many things, many drivers, and to tackle them all at once is difficult. To identify the pattern, for example, that you did, is also difficult for us in our head and with everything that's going on. AI does a better job at that. But if you look at the workplace, let's say specifically, yes, AI is playing a huge role there. I mean, 2025 is all about the agentic AI and all that discussion that's going on there. Great. On the other side, there is quite a number of people who are already using tools like Earkick to help them at work and in their private life. And if we take a step back and say, okay, AI wellness, what is that? Why? Then we have to realize that success at work isn't just about technical skills. It's so deeply tied to emotional well-being, So if someone is anxious or, nearing a burnout, which happens a lot, it affects everything: focus, decision-making, creativity, the way they eat, the way they sleep, the way they, they perform. And that is a reality. But in many workplaces, I would say in most workplaces, people have good reasons to hesitate to voice any concerns or to speak openly, or ask for help, So, and this accumulates layer over layer over layer until it's too late. And now, if we look at the other side, it's not easy. It's easy to go and say, the managers, they're in charge. They should fix this. Well, managers are juggling tight budgets. They have relentless targets, KPIs. They often also lack the training or the time to offer any meaningful feedback, to kind of like go and be that listening ear or be that person on the other side. And so this all means that executives and higher ups all remain in the dark, when problems arise, until, let's say, somebody hands in a resignation or a whole team decides to go away. And at that point, it's like, well, the damage is done, right? And so if we think about these dynamics, that's where AI wellness really can change the game. Imagine that employees could get, real-time coping strategies in the moment when things happen, and they're bound to happen, stress or doubts, politics at work, colleagues that are horrible, whatever, or even before meeting, when somebody rejects you, when there is a frustration about something, like right after such a tough session, to have the opportunity, go somewhere outside, go to the bathroom and talk to the AI panda. Get it out, get some clarity and go back and be able to deal with that. So nowadays we wait for reviews, annual reviews. We wait for some data to trickle in. And then by the time the reaction happens, which is well meant from all sides, there's so much time that has evolved. And a small problem, think of the toxic colleague, can evolve into huge issue that, that acts like a virus and everyone gets infected. So those small things, the small patterns that you just said, all these can be picked up. The small changes in typing speed, the messaging tone, all of these things, if you take them together, they can ring an early bell about stress, about misunderstanding, and they can prompt a discrete, let's say, suggestion for support in Earkick. And this in a very, very radically private, low pressure way, via check-in, via quickly chatting, via, being kind of in touch with a tool like Earkick all the time. And it helps you reflect, reset. And now on the upper levels, Earkick also has the option to have a back office. I haven't talked about that, but you can, as a manager or as a company owner, it's absolutely possible to see aggregated data, learn from it in real time without, infringing any privacy or knowing who's on the other side. And if you think of this way for AI wellness, there is a whole world that we can build. There is so much that we can do better than annual reviews. There is so much potential to see not just the personal pattern, but also team patterns, company patterns, cultural patterns, and know where to start. And so the whole data-driven opportunity that AI wellness and these platforms like Earkick offer are, we've started to see what we can do with this. Like if you take employees, I mean, we have users who tell us that a quick emotional reset, as they call them, keeps them productive, gives them a bit of headspace, and being able to discuss something quickly with their panda, it makes them feel heard and supported, even when their workplace culture maybe doesn't provide it. And so all these things in total can not only prevent people from giving up and going somewhere else, from burning out, but also, it will show in your bottom line if you have a company. And it should show in your bottom line.
Yeah.
So, yeah, everything improves when mental health is optimized. And I'm not talking about workshops and, let's all sit and do some yoga. I'm really talking about the opportunity of using AI wellness to improve communication, to improve, the connection on all levels, and also the understanding of yourself in others. So, I mean, I could talk forever about this, but I'm just talking to the potential that we have with what I call AI wellness.
It's like the holistic approach that's blurring the line between what is productivity, what is mental health, and what is well-being together, right? In work.
It's all one thing.
I remember in 2020, we used a Slack tool, something integrated in our Slack, and I forget the name of that whatever that was, software, but the plugin. But it was like every day it will send us like a small questionnaire, basically 1 to how are we feeling at the work day today, and it was we will just answer it, and then it will show a compiled result every day to the executive team, and that was a great thing, by the way. It was great way of measuring just pulse on the what's happening. It's like fast moving, especially in early stages company. So it reminds me that all those applications are like super important, like how you're explaining it. It is so I tend to think, while all those things are important, it's we tend one of the things I would say is like, it's because we are trying to celebrate the wins there, right? And not always making it depressive messages about, like, it gets serious with mental health. And that notion makes the wins makes it, make it feel better. People want to use it to that. So tell me about, you do it in your kick a lot, which I loved it, by the way, there is like helps users celebrate wins and turn those struggles into growth. Why is that important, and what is kind of the thesis behind it? Because I feel like this is working really good, because I found this feature as like, oh, well, I love this. Like, this is what makes me use it.
Yeah, well, it's basic reinforcement, but you can do this, with some gamification and making it fun. Because if we think of, this is a mental health app, it's all serious, and this has to do with illness, and better not touch it, we're not going to make this the new normal. But if it's integrated into all aspects of our lives, and that includes the good ones and the ones that we want to celebrate or we want to talk about, then the spectrum becomes much bigger. So I think people really understand that the convenience on one hand of these solutions is there, the availability, accessibility all the time, the privacy, which is increasingly becoming important, and also the control that they have. So let me explain. First of all, life, as we all know, doesn't happen on a weekly schedule, whether it's at work or in private. Like, stresses pop up when they pop up anytime. So the convenience of having this 24/7 support without needing to coordinate things, or without it being complicated, really plays to our habit of, we're used to having things, at one swipe, one tap. But also when it comes to the privacy part, whether it's something rather negative or it's something really cool, it may be sensitive, right? And we want to discuss sensitive topics openly, ideally, knowing that there is no judgment, knowing that there is really, that I'm safe with what I'm saying. And also, when I'm proud of something, maybe I was ashamed of something first, and now I'm proud that I'm coming out of, addiction, or maybe I'm coming out of laziness. Maybe I'm making, moves towards having, the relationship of my dreams. I don't know. We have so many goals. And if we have this little tap on our shoulder, if we have this constant encouragement, the ideas of how to get there, the panda that helps you when you experience a little win and goes and celebrates with you. This is so important because it reinforces the learning, in a very basic way. So I think we're seeing the rise of these chat-based interfaces, thanks in part to the development of GPT-4 and the rise of a more gamified approach to learning things, like Duolingo, or enjoying things. That has really normalized these conversations that people, for example, and the interaction they have with AI in general and with Earkick in particular. So I think people, to your point, are comfortable with having this at your fingertip things when convenience, privacy, and the control over things are given. Whether it's, that pep talk before a job, or just celebrating some small wins, or getting a little bit of extra kudos after a stressful day, or when you hit a milestone. We need that. We're human beings. We want a bit of kudos, and we want someone who's actually observing us, not dishing out, one size fits all things. If my goal was to walk around, the block, and this is a huge thing, and I finally do it, I don't want to be compared to a marathon runner, But if I am the marathon runner, then I don't want to have a kudo for every step I make. And that's where AI is really good, because it knows, oh, this was an effort for Karin, or this was an effort for Vivek. And let's celebrate that, right? Let's learn how to set goals.
But I think it's nicely gamified too. I think there is that balance of, right,
Yeah.
how you gamify it. I think your team has done a great job there to not make it feel exaggeration, and then it looks like, it's bluff, right? So that's the balance, right? Which is where it is, this is where it takes, right? So,
sensitive line, yes.
yeah,
That's
exactly. So let's talk about the business model. So initially, Earkick used as a B2C subscription model, and but you recently shifted to more like a freemium model, like Duolingo. So what led to this pivot, and how does this support your growth goals and commitments toward accessibility? I also want to touch upon and put in question about, is there a roadmap? Are you completely shutting down on the B2B side, or that will still continue? Talk to us about that as well.
Okay, so yes, when we launched with a B2C subscription, we pretty much immediately saw a very strong demand. And so our download to paid conversion, was at 5 to 8%, which is very, very healthy. But if you think a bit beyond that, we aim to reach millions of people, and we aim to reach them, billions, quickly, because timing is such an important thing in mental health and personal growth. if I can help someone today, why would I wait until they find me or I find them? The more people we can reach fast, the better. And so we realized that a freemium model would remove even that small financial barrier that was there before, So again, if you increase the likelihood of reaching millions and billions rather than having this small circle of people, then it's about a different mission. And it's about really changing the game. I think like Spotify, we can keep it free. It's similar to how Duolingo democratized language learning, right? So in Duolingo, if you want an ad-free experience, you pay a premium. But if you can't or don't want to, you can still get access to all essential features and no questions asked. It's the same with Earkick. Yes, you can still have a premium, but everything you need to work on your mental health, to work on your personal growth, to have that experience is now free. And we really implore people to share it with others, to tell everyone, because this is a numbers game. And the more people we reach, the closer we get to our original idea, our original North Star of really making mental health accessible as normal as Googling something. To your question about the B2B, we do have, and we have had in the past, B2B clients. It's just a matter of focus. So I told you about the back office, about all the things that are already built. With everything, it's a matter of timing. Right now, we see this momentum, this inflection point, and we really want to serve all these individuals across the world, while at the same time, getting ready to also serve organizations and cater to the B2B sector when the time is right. So we're in good connection, good communication with them, building the relationships, building the funnel to then serve them when the time is right. They're not out of the picture, but we're simply not focused on them, right? And you see me write and talk about the workplace, because I believe that there is a natural overlap between what we're doing now and where it's going to grow into. If you think of Slack, for example, people started using Slack at home and everywhere, on the ground, basically. And then the company followed, and it became sort of more of a B2C model. And we believe that mental health is very much a bottom-up thing, especially AI-driven mental health support. And that's the route we're taking. Yeah.
They say business strategy is a sequence of things. So
It is.
So you're defining it how your core strategy is going to be, which is great. Tell me, like, there is obviously, mental health market is growing fast. Like, there's so many players every single day. What makes Earkick different from other AI-driven solutions right now?
It's a good question. I would say we have a lot where I start. So first of all, to my knowledge, we are the only ones that measure mental health, that sort of have this approach of, first, I want to know where you're at. I want to understand who you are, how you are, like where your emotions are, where you're standing on your journey before, engaging with you and giving you some tips or motivation, whatever. And I want to keep measuring, because then our conversations become meaningful. And then whatever the Panda Earkick tells you is based on your own data. And so the measurement part, nobody does it to my knowledge. You either have tools that do measure, they do some assessment, some diagnosing, whatever, and then leave you to figure out what to do with it. Or you have a chatbot that happily chats along, chats and chats every day, wakes up, has asked you the same question, doesn't remember you, doesn't know about how you slept, doesn't get how many steps you took, doesn't understand how you react to rainy weather, basically that. And for us to feel understood and taken seriously, we need to have a combination of being heard, also being heard beyond our words. So when the panda gets your emotions, gets what happened in the past because it has very intricate memory models, and can weave that knowledge into the chats, into the reports it gives you, into the check-in notifications and everything else, the likelihood that you are going to feel that it's about you and only you is much higher. So that's something that other solutions don't have. The measurement part and the memory part, basically the ability to, as an LLM, to understand time. Another thing is the radical privacy that we already spoke about. Most tools out there require you to download and register. So you're leaving your email, you're leaving all kinds of data there before you even get to enjoy the experience, before you even know what's going to happen. And I think that's tricky because when we're compromised in such a way, I doubt you're completely open. And trust is a tricky thing. You can only lose it once. So I think this radical privacy approach is different. And of course, being free is also different from the tiered subscription model that others have. Yeah. Also, we have this LLM, that's trained, on mental health matters, and it's very specialized, very, very, very specialized. A lot of solutions that are popping up right now are simply ChatGPT wrappers, quickly done, with a lot of marketing, and we'll show how many of them will prevail when the user and the end consumer gets pickier and notices the difference.
Can you touch upon this point a little bit more? Like, why is specialized AI crucial in mental health? And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, you have reported that it's, your LLM tech is outperforming GPT-4 in psychology space. And
Yeah.
how does Earkick's approach sets it apart? Can you talk about that a bit?
Yes. So general purpose AIs and lots of bots they're incredibly powerful, but they're not fine-tuned. They're not fit to address nuances of mental health. Our models are built on domain-specific data, on very, very high-quality data that we collected. And they're also, our approach and our models are guided by expert insights in psychology, psychiatry. And this all helps reduce not only the risk of, let's say, unhelpful advice, but also the risk of sounding like everyone else, right? And so next to the ability of Earkick to remember and understand time, it's so important that the whole underlying machine basically is really, really trained in mental health, psychology, psychiatry. What comes on top of it can be fun, can be, all kinds of different characters, different personalities, as we call them, one more bubbly, the other one more straight to your face. But the underlying knowledge, the underlying data, the underlying training is done with so much care that it shouldn't go wrong, and that has very, very narrow guardrails when it comes to risks and to how to deal with someone, let's say, who's going towards a difficult situation. And so that's why those models need to be very fine-tuned, and they continue to be challenged. We run so many tests, different models. We challenge the whole system all the time because we're not giving people access to some nice pair of shoes or some commodity. We're actually improving lives, saving lives, and that begs for a very, very professional and thoughtful approach to how you work with these models. People are, going to ChatGPT or to other models all the time and key in, I'm feeling depressed or whatever, or telling them their life story, which is shows that there is a need. But on the second thought, it's risky because they don't know where this is ending up, they don't know if it's going to come back and bite them. They don't know if it will make sense or if it's just going to be that fragmented kind of thing with some, rather superficial answers. So yeah, as much as I applaud people going out and searching for solutions on these tools, as much I would love people to be careful and to make sure that they have it all in one place and that they know who's behind the technology. They know the intent of the person or the team behind the technology, because again, that's a whole other topic that can get tricky. And so to your point, specializing the LLM, specializing the whole thing is needed when we're talking about people and lives and trajectories and careers and personal growth.
Is there any models outside of, I'm sure there is a lot goes in mix matching, getting the best out. Is there any out of the box model that you would get closer to you? Because I doubt it, because it's like, it's such a nuance, need and sophistication in mental health. I just don't feel comfortable even putting any question in ChatGPT like that. Like, just doesn't work for me. Is it that far the gap, or is it not that
Well,
far? How it's handled?
if you can try it, if you key in something like, "Oh, I'm so depressed, and I think I want to, I don't know, do something, harm myself," you key that into ChatGPT, it will immediately back off and say, "Whoa, whoa, 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 can't deal with this," right? And this is going to happen more and more. So we need tools that can handle this and that are trained to meet people exactly where they are. And so the broader tools that are going to tell you everything, and they can do research and they can give you, like that, it's fantastic. I love OpenAI. I love all these open tools, but we need to know how to use them to get to our goals. And that you will see more and more these broad tools go like, "Oh, stop, ask me your math problem, ask me whatever, but self-harm, man, I don't want to have anything to do with this." So it takes more than just dishing out some tips and answers. It's this accompaniment, this ongoing measurement, playing it back to you, this feedback loop, guidance, motivation, the whole package, essentially what we need in life to progress at our own speed and to keep this being challenged, then accepting, then growing, then being challenged again. This whole thing needs more than just some answers, as fancy as they may sound. If you key in something to ChatGPT, it'll give you like 100 things that you could do. But what I actually want to hear is what with my personality, my tendencies, my habits, my flaws, what can I do? What's most likely to be accepted by myself? Give me the tip that works for me. Don't give me the whole buffet. Tell me what is my preference. Tell me what is good for me. And all these things require a system that measures, knows you better, and is specialized on the topic of mental health.
Well, that's been great. Thanks for sharing all the insight, Karin. And people, go download, try Earkick, and share
It's
your
free.
feedback with Karin, and you can reach out to us. We will send your message to Karin or reach out to her directly. But go try. My personal experience has been really great, and I will still back my words that it is one of the best, at least mental health app AI based I have used by far in many years. Like, I mean, it's been like I've been using app for very long. So so go try it. Karin, once again, thank you for your time. Thanks for your insights, and we will get back with our next episode on mental health streams. Thank you.
Yeah, can't wait.